hope everybody can see my screen. Okay. So let's start. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining in. While our guests are still coming, that's alright. We will start from the very basic information. So first of all, nice to meet you. My name is Alexandra Baidak and I'm community manager here at Origami Lab initiative. Very pleased to meet you, and you can feel free to always share your ideas with me, or if you'd like to become one of our next speaker for the future events, just contact me. We actually went global and already met wonderful people from science, technology, creative industry, and that will be very interesting to know where are you watching us. So we are just very curious to meet you. If you can and if you'd like, please share your location in the chat box from the right. Okay. Nice to hear the somebody is sharing that with us. Thank you very much. As the idea of that is actually to welcome you as a community members. Everyone is welcome here. What about today? Our goal for today to introduce you our special guest, Dr. Milan Jelisavčić, who is co-founder of Angelico initiative, data scientist and AI researcher based in Amsterdam. And one of the main goals is to understand why artificial intelligence can be the helpful tool in inclusive education, especially if we are talking about kids affected by autism disease. Quick note, we have very simple rules for today. Please make sure that you're muted while someone is speaking. That will very much helpful to us to concentrate and spread the right message. Note also that you are very welcome to share your opinion or your comments, and of course if you have question just while somebody from us is talking, feel free to share that with the chat box that you already use. And of course at the end of the today's event we will have the Q&A, where you will be able not only type in the chat, but also if you'd like you can unmute and ask your questions directly to our speaker. For sure we'll have the recording of this session and we'll share the slides with you just a bit later. And last but not the least, just enjoy the event. So I think we are good for now, and now I will turn the floor to my colleague. Please welcome Victor Andreas, who will share with us what is Origami Lab initiative about and what are current milestones, what we will do for future. Victor, the time is yours.
Thank you, Alex, for the introduction. I'll keep it short. As always, on every meetup, we try to give you a quick introduction for the ones that are new to the Meetup series. What is this all about and who is organizing it? I'll keep it brief as much as I can. I still have to practice to keep it short, so bear with me. We try to squeeze this part to just 1% of the whole meetup, so you can then get the whole time to focus on our guest speakers. So Origami Lab, what is it about? Alex, if you could switch the slide, it would be great. It is initially founded with the collaboration with the University of Applied Science of Basel, specifically with the Faculty of Life Sciences. We have some representatives here. We have Christian Kronzeder, who is a professor there for data science and analytics. And basically, a brainchild of Christian initially, and together with the digital agency Ilion Digital, we launched the Origami Lab initiative as a non-profit and open source oriented community that is dedicated to everyone. Doesn't matter from your background, your profession, everyone who is eager to get involved in the subject science and research, everyone who is eager just to get exposure to this area, who is just curious, but also everyone who is already in this domain and is a researcher or scientist, or from the industry side in some way involved in these areas. And it doesn't matter what it is about, is it biology or chemistry, and we want to address the known and unknown and already discovered issues that exist in this domain. There are certain aspects that could be done better, and we believe the current time is right to address them with concepts and specifically technologies. Origami Lab is a tech-focused initiative, technologies that we see and use every day and make the life of a researcher, scientist, just a better day, right? A better life. And beside the fun part, it could also significantly help accelerating and just removing certain frustration points from the research community and scientific community. So we want to connect enthusiastic people, doesn't matter of the background, together with the industry players and research communities, including universities or also initiatives like us, and connect the dots where it counts, and then create lasting solutions. Everyone is welcome, so feel free to reach out to us, whether on the partnership side or just as a contributor, or just hang out with us and get to know the other people, and maybe also just show your skills. So everyone is welcome. I think that's enough on this part. If you have questions, feel free to follow up. Then a quick update. Alex, if you could flip, sorry. A quick update on the community maintainers. We have a couple of new faces. In every open source community, you have a concept of maintainers. Those are the people that basically are the volunteers to take care of it beyond just attending the meetup. So we have people here from various backgrounds, organizing meetups, dealing with problems, doing user research, making the websites and all type of things. So in every non-profit organization, it's important to have people that are dedicated to some extent. And here you see them. It's not exhaustive. We have a couple of new joiners as well, and I'll show you them in a bit. But basically, here's all the credit goes to this group. We are the people talking here, but behind the scenes, there's a bigger group putting a lot of work in. If you could go to the next one, Alex, please. Quick update since the last meetup. For the ones that recently joined, you will not see the progress, but I think we did quite some progress. We have grown the community significantly. We have also grown the communities on social media, on the social media channels. We're getting great, basically international input or feedback from people that are really motivated. We have discovered that there's a lot of frustration in certain areas, a lot of room to improve, but there also is a large group of people that really want to contribute to changing things and thinking a bit different. We have had two really interesting interactions last month with two other communities that are also open science, specifically dedicated to open knowledge type of topics as an exchange, which was really good. We agreed to partner together and just leverage synergies on what they do. We also had a session with a library lab community launched within the ETH. It's a university in Zurich in Switzerland that is also dedicated to a tech-specific topic and specifically infrastructure, research infrastructure. So we had a really good session with them. Agreed to also cross-share guest speaker sessions. So you're going to see them probably maybe the next or the event after. So it's really also a pretty cool initiative. We have a couple of new challenges discovered. We always pick some challenges depending how much capacity the community right now can handle. And most likely we're going to dedicate some time to literature research automation using machine learning. We also discovered a community in the Netherlands that has made something which is also open source, which is also important for us. And we will try to connect the dots there and see how we can work on this topic together. So that's it for the update since the last time. I hope I covered it all. Alex, could you flip? Thank you very much. Here we have an overview of new joiners. Sorry if we missed someone, but we have a couple of few people joining in. What means joining in? Maybe also as a point, we have a Slack group. We are on social media as well, but the real communication is happening on Slack. So since the Corona period, Slack actually got pretty much known to everyone. If you're not familiar with it, it's a chat software where we have community-specific channels. We also have a community portal. We still have to give it a boost a bit, not much going on there. So feel free to join in over Slack. It's the easiest way, ask questions, and it's a perfect entry point. And I just see someone ask to share the link, so maybe we can share it while I'm talking, Alex, on the chat here. And we will also hand out to all of you the information afterwards. So that's it for that. And last topic, what's a bit ahead. Oh, sorry, forgot. Sorry for that. We have, this is fantastic. We have been working quite heavily with a partner here, and actually mostly a super innovative company from Bulgaria that joined in to support, also completely voluntarily helped us building up the initial minimum viable product. Is something like a prototype, something that we call the Cobalt Initiative, and would in the long term evolve to an open source research management platform that we want to be a platform that aggregates various tools and plugins or functionalities to support a specific journey of a researcher, right? Every researcher is different, every field is different, everyone needs different tooling. And what we have realized is that there's nothing really out there that galvanizes those things and orchestrates them in the right way. So we have launched the initiative called Cobalt, and the first plugin we've made ourselves is specifically for the electronic journaling that every scientist or researcher to some extent has to do, and is partially also being done on actually paper journals. This is now available and as a demo version. You can find it on our OrigamiLab.ch website. The code is completely publicly available on GitHub. You can look it up. Here we're looking for partners. We're looking for industry players who can see some value in there, join in as a contributor, either creating another plugin or enhancing it or just using it themselves. As I said, it's completely available as an open source code base. And the next step will be probably here with the second challenge is to look into literature research automation and to add a little bit smartness there, since this is the highest ranked topic at the moment across all research disciplines. So far on Cobalt, it's available now. You can click around. Feedback really welcome. Please don't judge us, right? It's completely a non-profit based result. I believe it's pretty good for what actually the community has achieved here, and it's meant to be evolving, right? Last one, then I'm done. Sorry. What's ahead? The next event will be planned in April, same meetup. We are now discussing with a guest speaker who would join, or guest community actually. We're planning to host a conference in the summer. We're discussing now the agenda and what should be happening there. And we're actively looking for industry partners and community partners here to broaden the footprint and really collect everything that is out there. So that's so far for the what's next part and overall about origami. Sorry for if it was a bit too long. That's it from my side. I wish you a great meetup, a great guest talk, and looking forward to talk to all of you at some time, somewhere. Wish you a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. That was a great intro, and I believe we all now officially introduced to each other, even though we're pretty distributed now. One of our ideas here at the community was always to bring the cases that can inspire others, especially researchers and the overall community in the way of how outstanding, how scientific-based project can be interesting and life-changing, I believe. And now it's time actually to move on to one of the hottest topic that's is now discussed. I mean by that AI. We met Dr. Milan Jelisavčić a couple of months ago, and He's experienced in AI research, in robotics, in data science. Of course, he is, as a co-founder of Angelico, presented to us this fascinating story. And actually, when I've heard it, I actually got goose pimples. Milan, we are very thank you for your time, for your effort, and just for everyone notice. Milan joined us by his own interest. We don't have. He doesn't have. Came here for profit. So if you show him some appreciation from your side, maybe some thumbs up in the chat will be very great remark for him. But let's hear this story that I've been talking directly from Dr. Milan. Yeah, so Milan, please take your virtual stage.
Thank you, Alexandra. Let me share the screen. There you go.
Milan is, by the way, in the Netherlands right now.
Yeah. I'm often traveling, so you never know. So thank you, everyone, for joining today's meetup. A bit of background about myself. I graduated with my PhD in evolutionary robotics at Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. There we planted a seed of a very interesting research project that is and will continue to develop. I created the first ever robot baby in hardware. But not only that, I also managed to transfer and combine the knowledge from parental robots to their offspring and improve their adaptability. And now, what does this have to do with autism research, you may ask? Well, not much, but I do believe in neural plasticity. And if we can improve the resilience of a system in silico, we can also do it in vivo. Life can do so much that machines cannot. So having this in mind, I would like to present to you Angelico, the first AI lab focused on brain reasoning to help children with mental disabilities. We would conduct projects that develop assistive technologies. And these technologies would be focused on brain functionalities, image, text, and speech processing. This is the concept of a living laboratory that will enable people with disabilities to work in a creative space. And we are dedicated to this because children are our inspiration. They inspire us to appreciate the simple things in life. They inspire us to laugh. They inspire us to love and trust. And very importantly, they give us the reason to fight for a better life. When we first started the mentioned project, I was surprised as how much positive reactions we received. Even members of my own family called me one day to ask what we were planning to do. It sparked the interest because of a family friend's grandchild. And then I realized how much people are struggling with disabilities every day for their whole life. And I'm positive that we can improve their lives significantly through our methods of inclusive education. Now, inclusive education means that all students are supported to learn, contribute, and participate in all aspects of the school life. Inclusion classrooms are a wonderful concept that require a lot of training, patience, and compassion from the side of educators. And fully inclusive classroom have students across the educational and developmental spectrum, ranging from typically developing students to severe and profoundly disabled students. And for this reason, it becomes a challenge for the teacher to find enough of a balance to serve all of the students. What's challenging in particular are the students who are diagnosed with one of the autism spectrum disorders. So what are ASDs or autism spectrum disorders? ASDs represent a syndrome for neurodevelopmental disorders and they have a biological basis. And the disorder is mostly commonly characterized with one of the three key impediments, or combined: social interaction, communication skills, and repetitive behavior deficit. And inclusive education at the moment is currently designed to address all of these three mentioned problems. However, the efficiency of the program is qualified based on the educator's impression of the students' facial expressions and reactions throughout the learning process. And this method is now this method. It means that this method is not always accurate, as it depends on the individual educator's experience and impressions, and it also increases the accountability of the teachers. On the other hand, our approach is to develop a comprehensive software product for children with autism. And we did our research. There are many apps that can help with the treatment of autism. Communication skills are designed to, communication apps are designed to provide visual cues to make communication easier. Some of the best apps for autistic children provide a schedule and an outline for behavioral expectations. And of course, apps designed to improve social and life skills are both important aspect of everyday functioning, but they also are a very challenging aspect for children with autism. One common theme for all this is that these apps are highly generalized and they are not curtailed for an individual needs. So what makes us different? Well, we are developing a system that adapts to individual needs by applying AI and objective quantification. Our technology is focused on brain functionalities, but also other aspects of that we can quantify. For instance, the development of electroencephalography sensors create non-invasive, more accurate and affordable tools. Also, kinetic and biosensors could be utilized for quantifying the aspects of psychophysical dynamics. So we propose the development of a mechanism that can employ the sensory inputs and machine learning with the goal of creating the fine-grained learning program. And we call this Angelico educational methodology. In order to classify the personalized learning programs, we would apply the classification analysis based on the physiological and environmental indicators. The prediction of individual outcomes and effectiveness is one of the most important aims in clinical research today, and the personalized programs are becoming much more popular. Now, in the current teaching method, it is assembled from the general curriculum for ASD. Then it's based on the educator impression of the student's behavior and assessment. Curriculum is modified and adapted for. And all this is done in iterative process. Now, are there any issues with this? Well, firstly, it is highly subjective. The whole process depends on the educator's impression and experience. And secondly, it's not quantifiable. That means whether adjustments are added to the curriculum, we can hardly define the rate of the success. So to solve this problem, we call AI in assistance. Now, what is AI? Well, AI represents a set of algorithms that enables computer and machines to mimic the perception and decision-making capabilities of human mind. The term may also be applied to any machine that can exhibit traits that are associated with learning or problem-solving skills. Basically, in our example, if we train an AI algorithm well enough, it could do the evaluation process that our educators are now doing, but much better. it can crunch more layers of information and produce more accurate and explainable recommendations. The whole process on our side is envisioning with what I like to call the Angelico pyramid. We operate in 3 phases, but also 3 levels of abstraction. Firstly, we collect as much as information as possible about the students, especially biometric information during the learning process. Secondly, we sort out the information and produce the mathematical models fit for the specific individual. And finally, we develop the user-friendly interface that can evolve with the user. Basically, the end goal of the whole process is to minimize the required data inputs. So the final model would use the as least as possible and maximize the accuracy of the system. And we do this how the whole system is set. Well, we have a cooperation with the School for Special Education, Dr. Milan Jelisavčić, that works with 40 students at the moment diagnosed with ASD. Age range is between 7 and 40 years. How do we do this? Well, first we define the curriculum by doing the knowledge test for every child in 3 key aspects. Those are functional mathematics, life skills, and functional communications. And secondly, then we would adapt the classroom of Dr. Milan Jelisavčić School, where we can calibrate and synchronize the equipment. Equipment would consist from EEG sensors, smart watches, audio and video sensors, etc. Now, the data extraction is primarily focused on the EEG readings. Well, an EEG is used to detect the problem in electrical activity of the brain that may be associated with certain brain disorders. That's why we are primarily focused on EEGs. The EEG records, the EEG in essence records brain waves by using equipment called amplifiers and by looking at the information from the electrodes in different combinations. So, but also it is useful to locate the specific problematic areas of the brain. So what is the big deal with brain waves? Well, neuroscientific literature distinguishes several bands of brain waves and relates them with the distinctive states of a human mind. For instance, delta band predominates during the deep sleep state. Then theta band is involved in memory encoding and retrieval. Alpha is involved in motor functions and cognitive functions as well. But also you can detect if person is relaxed or not. SMR or sensory motor rhythm represents idle electric brain activity. A person is producing a stronger SMR when immobile, and SMR is lower when the person is active. So it can we can use it for our analysis, but it can also I see it as challenging because it can also represent a bit of a noise for distinguishing between alpha and SMR patterns. And the most important for us is beta waves that are indicating cortical transmissions that are associated with the increased cognitive activity. That means when we detect a higher activity of beta waves, we know that the students are more focused on the specific curriculum part. For this, we apply, for mapping the EEG sensors, we would apply 1020 system that is basically internationally recognized method to describe and apply the location of a scalp electrodes. This system is based on the relationships between the location of an electrode and the underlying areas of the brain. Thus, by positioning electrodes in a specific areas of the brain, we could locate the problematic parts that are more or less active than with standard than with normal brain. Also, we would use other sensory inputs, for instance, voice analysis. With voice recording, we can do so much, and the plan is to correlate brain patterns with different patterns in the tonality and the color of the voice. And of course, apart from this, we would use other intrusive metrics like facial recognitions in the final product instead of EEG measurements. Facial recognitions is also important. We could, with high-speed cameras, we could detect different changes in the expression and correlate the specific event with higher attentiveness of the person, or lower attentiveness when the person is smiling, when it's interested, etc. And hopefully in the final product, this would be sufficient enough to replace the EEG metrics. From EEGs, we want to do classification of different performance metrics. For instance, those are excitement, engagement, relaxation, interest, and focus. Especially for us is important interest and focus, because we want to know at what key moments the child is having a higher focus on the curriculum. The most important of all is that we would do labeling temporal labeling of every event, so we could do classification based on the event-related potentials. And what are the event-related potentials? Well, they are measured brain response that is in the direct result of a specific sensory, cognitive, or motor event. So, for instance, if we detect a change in the brain pattern, we can label it and correlate to other aspects of quantification, and hopefully we can make good correlations of why this happened. Was it because of curriculum or something else in the environment triggered this event? And the study of the brain in this way provides non-invasive means of evaluating brain functioning. To recap in practice is that we want to correlate EEG readings with other sensory inputs. And the final goal is to develop this very non-invasive product that can work with and adapt to individual child. It would use audio or visual stimulus to update its model, but and EEG sensors are basically used just in the first phase, where we want to collect as much as information as we can. And how do we evaluate our product? Well, we first do observation. We first detect key indicators for the increased attention. Then we make the model interpretations and curriculum evaluations, and then when we produce the personalized curriculum definitions, we could assess after some period. We could assess the improvement in child's attention, or hopefully new learned skills that are the result of our adapted curriculum. So where are we now? Well, we are at the moment in this initial phase. Initial phase is when we create a project infrastructure, research platform, and data models, when we want to test the sensory equipment, and when we are promoting the whole project. In the first phase, we want to we do a data analysis and data retrieval in the first place, and then data analysis. and where we create different models. In the second phase, we want to deploy the platform. We test the mapping on the participant attentiveness based on the adjusted curriculum. And in the final phase, we hope to expand the whole project to other areas of education. Now, our team is small but fastly growing. We already have colleagues scattered all over the Europe. The core team is in Novi Sad, but we also have colleagues in Germany, Switzerland, and I am at the moment in the Netherlands. So what we need is a tool that can help us to share and streamline in a nice and orderly way the lab results or lab notes, and to have a system that can basically organize our team even on a distance. For this reason, we hope that Cobalt can help us in achieve this goal. And so I would like also to thank Alexandra and Victor for giving us this opportunity. They explained a bit about Cobalt, and I hope you all can test it. If you want to know more about our project, feel free to ask. And if you have any questions further, feel free to contact. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Milan. Thanks a lot for a great talk. Let me share.
A round of virtual applause. Huh?
Yeah.
This hasn't been solved yet, huh? How to make noise.
We need to contact Google Meet to, to give them that idea. Yeah, so from one side, it's unbelievable still that children are still facing this ISD disease. But from the other side, on the example of Angelico, we see that everything is possible, and it's so uplifting that such project exists. So yeah, as you can see, feel free to support this wonderful initiative and stay in contact with Milan. Maybe allow me to take advantage of my role today and to speak more with our speaker. So I have a couple of questions for you, Milan. First of all, you told us that children is a great inspiration for you. I've been wondering if there is a story of how did you came across that idea of working on this specific problem. Have you been brainstorming, or you just accidentally meet someone, or how does it happen?
Yeah, I must say it's not my original idea. The idea originates from the founder, Jovan Stojanovic, and he is the driving force behind the whole project. He gathered us in the team, and yeah, without his initial energy, this wouldn't be possible. But for me, as I mentioned, I started receiving a lot of positive reactions from people. And when I realized that there are so many people that are facing with these issues, then it started to lift off with me.
Okay. Yeah, we see that's always great to have something driving you. Yeah, one more question. You describe it and show to everyone that you have a very complex method of how you can build the new system for teaching those kids. What about any expectation? I saw that you have stage 2 as the like a milestone to measure the results. Have you thought on any predictions about your version of tackling the ASD?
Well, first, I'm very positive that we can make a huge improvement in the educational curriculum. Just with the sheer reason that AI can operate with so many data dimensions that we call it for the human beings, we call it experience, but experience comes with time, and that is what we don't have when we deal with individual child. We cannot gather enough of information in our lifetime as much as AI can. So thus, just having this in mind and just knowing that how many dimensions of abstraction and how fast AI can achieve this goal, I'm very positive that we can have a significant improvements.
Yeah, that's right. That's reasonable actually. At the beginning, it's always like this, and uh, yeah, totally will take that as an answer. And my last question is in general about your organization, because as we can see, you are crossing the industries. You have the research part, you have technology stack as well. Can you speak about what kind of challenges you are facing as the organization in 2021 in the new norma and crossing those industries?
Yes, well, we are a small but very energetic and enthusiastic organization, and as I said, we had a lot of positive reactions, even from the companies and industries, and I see people are interested to participate. At this moment, the biggest focus is on finding the right financial source so we can cover the whole project. Yeah, I would say that would be the biggest challenge at the moment, but because it is such a hot topic, and because it is something that is a common interest, I'm very sure that we can soon enough overcome this issue.
Okay, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
that's amazing initiative, and we wish you best of luck. Thank you for answering my questions. I think we can move on to Q&A, and now everyone who is having something in mind can share in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and say a couple of questions by the voice. Feel free to do that.
I would have a question if I can ask. I got actually pretty curious and excited during the talk. Thank you, Milan. It feels to me like this technology could be applied with anyone, right? Maybe I should be using it as well. If I get tired, not to stop work. If my brainwave tells me, Victor, you're not really in your best self, go take a nap. Is that something that has a broad application case, or has it limitations due to the hardware? When you were talking, I also thought about the demonstration they did with Neuralink. Is that something that scales out beyond just a few people or a limited group?
Yeah, thank you, Victor, for the question. Well, yes, actually, the field of quantified self is becoming more and more popular. Okay. We were witnessing 10 years ago, I guess, that there was Fitbit was one of the first companies that was breaching in this area. And I see more from Android apps. As I can remember last year when this Corona crisis started, there was even an app that can detect with what probability you are infected. But yes, I think that we can, as I mentioned, we can expand this in a later notice. We can expand this to just standard education. What I read from the literature is also, but from experience as well, you can notice that for every child, they have what is the problem in the basic education is that you have classrooms with 30 different children with different learning potentials or different interests, and you have one unified curriculum. So if you could give individual child a chance to learn in its own pace, you could maximize the effectiveness of the program.
Thank you, Milan.
Okay, more questions?
Milan.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Sarah, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. That's a phenomenal presentation and the project, really, honestly. Milan, well done. This is really close to my heart because I'm head of autism research and development in the UK. Work in the biggest autism specialist school, so it's very close to what I'm doing, especially because your team is from Novi Sad. I'm originally from Osijek, which is 20 minutes away. But what I wanted to ask is actually about girls with autism. This project could actually highlight those differences, and I wanted to know if you have any preliminary results which could point out to those differences, because so far autism research has seen this problem of generalizing certain things. So it's a very different, unique group. So each person with autism can be different from the other person with autism. So this kind of individualized approach would really be the right way to go. And I'm thinking it would probably popularize this idea of everyone being unique. And if you could, have data that supports that, that would be just phenomenal. Did you have any results so far? And did you maybe include girls in your sample, little girls with autism?
Yes, thank you for the question. Well, it is, I know it's a popular philosophy at the moment, but also everyone is unique, but also everyone can be generalized to the certain extent. So we want to cover both sides to see what is the common for maybe a specific gender, age, or etc. So to get back to the question, we didn't started working directly with the kids at the moment because it's a very sensitive topic. Now we are at the setup phase when we want to get the permissions from the parents to educate the teachers to handle the equipment, etc., and also to calibrate the equipment in the right way. So I cannot say more about this apart from what is in the literature at the moment. But I would assume there are differences on many aspects of nonetheless the gender. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. I would be more than interested to help if you need. We have 272 students.
Oh, definitely, it will be.
Maybe Milan, just from the are you intending to publish your research results over time? Is that intended to be publicly available so people like Sarah can then, at
yes,
least just
yeah. Yes, cool. Of course. So everything we do would be public, and we hope to make the comprehensive tool that everybody can use, not just the research papers.
Milan, Christian here. Good to see you again.
Hey.
Have you? I know I repeat this question, but now it's a bigger audience. Have you considered in your data gathering exercises to look at eye movements or other physiological types things you could measure, or is it pure EEG?
No. Well, the EEG would be at certain moment the reference point to other inputs. So what we want to do is have a detailed picture of what is happening in the mind and correlate the specific event-related potentials, the specific patterns that we read from EEGs to other quantifications that we can do, like facial expressions or a gesture or change in the voice, etc. So the goal is to have the least intrusive system as possible. And that would basically include only the microphone or a video or maybe some changes in the interaction with the applications that we would develop.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to add something. Mia is here, a colleague of Milan at the Angelico project. I just want to say the reason why we choose the EEG is because different children with autism react react differently to external stimulus. So we cannot just watch their facial expressions or listen to their voice to see, to actually understand their reaction. And that's why we are following the cognitive processing, and we are trying to find the correlation between brain waves to detect the moments of attention, and then to correlate that with biological parameters, also facial expressions, to understand how each individual child reacts to the different stimulus from the environment. So yes, we are following also EEG and other signals, but we cannot do the research part without the EEG.
I see. Okay, thank you. That's very interesting.
You're welcome.
Okay, no more questions? Okay, I think we can move on, and yeah, it's actually time to say goodbye for now. We are invite you to get involved with us, and yeah, stay in contact with Milan if you'd like. Thank you for an amazing questions, for your attendance, for your time. I'm sure that you have learned something new, something interesting today. Yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to talk about our initiative as well. We also appreciate having support from the University of Applied Sciences and Art, and especially School of Life Sciences, and special thanks to Christian Consider. Yeah, feel free to contact us. Let's stay in touch and hope to see you next time.